There you go.
Oh, welcome everyone and hello. Here we are back after a little vacation. Today is July the 13th, Thursday, and we want to bring you a lot of updates of what's going on. And yes, we bring you information from national, statewide, and local in education. Always something happening, always. So my name is Consuelo Lara.
My name is Madeline Cronenberg, and welcome to episode 201 of Between Two Teachers. As always, I will begin with our land acknowledgement. We pause to acknowledge that we are gathered together on the ancestral territory of Huichin, which is part of the unceded land of the Chochenyo and Karken speaking Muwekma Ohlone people. We remember their continued connection to this region and give thanks to them for allowing us to live, work, learn, and pray on their traditional homeland, and offer our respect to their elders and to all members of the Ohlone people of the past and present. And we continue to ask you to advocate for their being accepted as a tribe in the Federal Register of Tribes. You can find that by Googling Justice for Muwekma, and you can join in the effort to get them the benefits that they will receive from being a federal tribe. And we also advocate for the curriculum that exists both on the East Bay Regional Park website and on the Office of Contra Costa County Schools website, which is a complete and accurate depiction of the history of the Ohlone people and all Indigenous peoples in the state of California. And so that is our request, that you that you not only acknowledge the land we live on, but that you take the actions that are necessary to continue to grow that acknowledgement among everyone. And also that you you're welcome to like and share this channel if you're watching us on YouTube, or this episode if you're watching us somewhere else on social media. And now for what's going on in the news. Here it is, July 13th. I mean, we've been gone a couple of weeks, but I did want to point out the story of two Midwest governors. One of the Midwest governors was a former teacher. He was an elementary school and middle school science teacher. He was a principal. He wound up being a superintendent and then state superintendent of schools. And his name is Tony, and he's governor of a state. Now, interestingly, California has a guy named Tony, who's state superintendent of schools, who would also like to be governor of our state. But Tony Evers is governor of the state of Wisconsin. And Mr. Evers, Governor Evers, has this strong education background. And he has done the most amazing thing in the last week. He vetoed a plan from the Republican legislature to basically cut back on education funding. And he made some adjustments to the bill that was put before him. And instead of just allowing it to go forward for the next year, 2023 to 2024, he changed a digit and he approved this adjustment, which is an increase in their base funding from 2023 to 24-24. So he made a 400-year adjustment to education funding in Wisconsin. And we can only hope that it lasts.
Yes, yes. Oh my gosh. And they passed it.
And they passed it because they didn't have the ability to undo it right now, which isn't to say that somehow in the next 400 years, there may be some hiccups in it, but nonetheless, he made the effort. And I thought it was a historic effort. I don't know anybody else who's done anything for 400 years. So if our superintendent Thurmond becomes Governor Thurmond, I'm going to send this to him. So he too
Yeah.
can do what Governor Tony did in Wisconsin and do something that's for 400 years.
Exactly. Exactly. Or at least a couple hundred years.
Yeah, at least half of that. I mean, he picked 400. I mean, he could have picked 8. He could have picked a lot of things, but anyway, he picked 400 years was a good number. Then there's his neighboring governor, Midwest governor, Governor Rauner of Illinois. He did the opposite. He cut back on funding for education in the Chicago public school system, and has essentially created or tremendously worsened the funding crisis for the children who go to Chicago public schools. Governor Rauner is no friend to the children or the educators of the state of Illinois, and we'll be hearing much more about him. So this, it's true. Elections matter. Elections matter.
Right next door. So different. Yeah.
So different. So different. The other thing I wanted to point out that's happened since we've seen you last, it's been quiet. It's summertime, but there has been a report that's come out about the charter school world. And this is a 2023. This is a recent report that's put out by the Network for Public Education. And essentially, it highlights the fact that there's a new breed of charter schools designed to deliver the conservative agenda. And that is really what has happened here. It's got to do with the charter schools that are being supported by Hillsdale College and many others throughout the country. And they are absolutely ideological in there, which has not always been the case. I would never want to paint all charter schools with the same ideological brush, because that would be very unfair. But these schools are proud to say this is the reason they have come in. They are bringing forward the culture wars are very ever present, and they have their position. So I recommend that you read it. It's called A Sharp Turn Right. The New Breed of Charter Schools Delivers a Conservative Agenda by the Network for Public Education. And I will link to that also on our Facebook page and on our Trello page.
Yes. And if people don't know, follow Diane Ravitch. She's the one who's really does her work, and her books are wonderful in this area. So yeah, she's the one, the expert in this area. So this is where that comes from.
That's right. That's exactly where it comes from. And we haven't talked much about charters in the recent past, because California was able to pass 1505 a few years ago, and that bill in particular limited the growth of charter schools, particularly in situations where there is a declining enrollment. And California has seen declining enrollment in many of the districts that the charter schools historically would be interested in going. But that's not at all true nationwide. So nationwide, it's a different story. And that's really what she's talking about here.
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah. I do want to just say, once again, Mr. Thurmond, our friend Mr. Thurmond, who sat on the West Contra Costa School Board and was in the assembly prior to being elected to a state superintendent of schools, has opened his exploratory committee and is officially in the mix to run for governor.
Yes, it's wonderful. I'm just very excited about that.
He's just going to be, he can follow Governor Tony Evers, right? He's the model for Governor Tony Thurmond. So I hope he does follow him, but he would be a wonderful governor.
Oh, and he carries the banner of, public education. I mean, how it's affected him and his life. And so he'll be there putting it front center. And so I'm really looking forward to that. That's wonderful news.
And equity. He is the champion for equity. He's the champion for children who need all kinds of support, and for all Californians. He truly is the champion for all Californians. So there'll be lots more for us to talk about with Superintendent Thurmond. But it's official now that he is out there and he is running.
He
The
also
oth-
did a lot of
Go ahead.
work in education workforce housing.
He absolutely is a star, which is now we should speak about that. That's the next big topic here
Yes,
is the education workforce housing webinar. So
yes.
go ahead.
So we are having a forum on Thursday, July 27, from 6:30 to 8 o'clock. And we have put together a group of experts in this area, housing period, and workforce housing, teacher housing. It's very complicated. It's very technical. So we want to hear from people who have been doing the research and have the experience in it. So that's what, and we want to do this and invite county-wide electeds, school board members, city council people, because it's all about collaboration. We all have to have the same kind of information. So we want to break down these silos. Everybody's working in separate silos. And what that means is share your information. That's how you break the silos. So we're going to bring this forum together, and it's just going to be very exciting. The speakers may change, but the topics and the areas we're looking at are very definite. The first thing we're going to start with is legislation, the big picture of all of the legislation in recent years that have passed. Lots of people don't realize it, that the rules have changed and loosened up to make a lot of this possible, and spotlighting who has done that in California, and then which is Buffy Wicks, and so all of that, and then to CSBA that has a whole workforce housing now component to CSBA. And so we're going to get that report. A lot of research and a lot of work that they've done. And then also Bridge Housing. They have been working in this area of affordable housing for, I think it said 30 years, something like that. So they bring all of this information as well. So that's one big part of what we're bringing to the forum. So let's see, what else are we going to?
An opportunity. So the Bridge will bring us the financing expertise. CSBA will bring a toolkit for to share out the projects and strategies that have been used throughout the state in the districts that have been successful in building workforce housing. And what we'll be able to do then is also look at the sites that are available within Contra Costa County. Ms. Toms has agreed to be here, and she's got access to that information. And then what we're hoping is to be able to form a network of electeds who will have the political will to address this part of the housing crisis, what we're talking about. And in addressing and helping to solve the housing crisis, they can also, school districts can also have an opportunity for revenue, because the revenue from the housing, right, the rental revenue from the apartment buildings, that's really what we're talking about. That revenue is an income stream that can be available to the school districts. And there are school districts now that have taken the advantage of that revenue stream. And we have the ups and downs in the budget. This could be a steady source of income for our school districts. And it makes no sense to leave this on the table. It wasn't available forever. This availability is because they changed the law and made it easier. It took barriers away that were there before.
Yes, absolutely. And
it's much easier to do this now. It's important that electeds know that. Go ahead.
And yeah, the whole thing is we want our students to have high quality teachers who can live here. So this is really about the students and the teacher shortage. And that's, the housing is just one of the issues that can address that, that shortage of teachers. And so that's why this is so important, so important. And of course, there's two crises, the housing crisis and the teacher shortage crisis. And it's not just teachers, though. We're looking and making sure the staff at the schools, teachers couldn't do anything if there wasn't that support staff. So we're looking at all of that as
Yeah.
education
The
workforce.
education workforce, the entire education workforce. And the other crisis that it helps to address is the funding crisis. So this is a three-pronged, this is three different areas of crisis that have a strategy that we can employ, that we can choose to employ to address it. And also the opportunity for cities and school districts to work together is really important. It's something that we need to get out of our silos and pointing fingers at each other for reasons things are terrible, and instead work together to make things better.
Exactly. And it's very exciting. I'm really looking forward to this, and we're going to talk a lot more about it as it gets closer. And
yes, and afterwards. So like everything we do, it will be recorded. It will live here on our channel. Other people will get it. There's a Facebook group called Friends of Education Workforce Housing. We'll make sure it's there as well. And we welcome anybody who's watching this now, who's interested, certainly is welcome to attend and to share it out with anyone you think would find it valuable. Right? It's important that parents understand this. It's very important that union members understand this because of the opportunities for your members to have an opportunity for housing that they don't have now.
yes, absolutely. And it's like you said, it's right. It's a solution to three different things: the housing, the budget, and the teacher shortage. Yeah, there's three different solutions or to the problem. So that would come from this. So that's very exciting to us.
Right. That's why we're so energized around this. I mean, this is because it really will make a difference. It really will make a difference. And Contra Costa County needs to address it as much as the other counties in the state have done it. We need Contra Costa to be part of the solution to this.
Yes, we'll also share best practices, and because people are doing this up and down the state of California many different ways. And yes, school districts can get in the business of being landlords. That's what it's going to take. Then that's what they do, because we already have some people doing that. Some school districts are. And so we're going to share these different projects that are out there as well.
Exactly.
All right.
So there'll be more about that. But now you have more about a resolution to share.
Yes, I have a resolution. I think I got it. It came by the NEA magazine, maybe the retired magazine that get CTA NEA. But it was talking about the Zen Education Project, collaborating with NEA, National Education Association. And they had in June some Teach Truth Days. And this is a result of all this book banning that's going on, or, people are, some of the ethnic studies classes are being shut down. And so there really is a target on doing a lot of these things deliberately to kind of whitewash history. And so they had a resolution called Teach the Truth. Teach the Truth resolution. And so we're looking at that, and I hope to bring it to the board, to the county board, as a resolution that will include some action that school districts, school board members can actually take. Because I have to, this group that's after things like ethnic studies or multicultural books, they're well-funded, and they are intentional. So they're not going to stop. And so we have to organize ourselves that have these values. And this is, as we've seen, like a resolution can be just the first step to bigger projects and bigger movement happening. So I'm very excited about that. What else? Also, I'm recruiting retired teachers to join our CTA NEA retired teachers of West Contra Costa. So we're gonna get that started. We're very excited about this. Not just retired from West Contra Costa, but if you live in the area and you want to be involved in the schools, we are putting that together. So let us know if you are a retired teacher and you're interested in joining us in this new chapter. So I'm really excited about that. And if you are a retired teacher, be sure and join CTA NEA Retired, because the benefits are amazing. The benefits you got as a teacher through CTA, a lot of them get extended. A lot of those perks that you had, if you joined the retired CTA NEA retired group, then you can get that. And so we want to start our own chapter here locally of that.
Exactly. And
Yeah.
and if you belong to another retiree group, this doesn't preclude you from joining this one. You can belong to more than one. You don't have to leave one to join the other. It's just like any other. You belong to lots of different organizations. This one is just one that really specifically will provide additional kinds of access maybe to help in the classroom, access to advocacy, and it will just give you one more layer of connection to CTA, who worked with you who you worked with, and who worked for you all these different years that you were a teacher. So you can contact us directly. You can message us on Facebook. We're easy to find. You just have to put our names into Google. You'll find us. It's not a difficult thing to find us. So let us know.
Yes, please. All right.
And so that's a lot that's been going on. I do want to give a shout out to I want to give a shout out to a foundation, which is the last. It's a philanthropic foundation, and I usually don't give a shout out to a philanthropic foundation because I think some of them are self-serving. Let's just say that. But this one is not, and I think of all of them, if we were going to have a model, it's this foundation. This is called the Schott Foundation, SCHOTT. And they've been an education justice foundation for 30 years. And they have, this is where I've always been impressed by them. I've had contact with them over the years, but what I've realized recently is that not only have they walk the talk, they changed their leadership, and the family of the Schott family stepped back from leadership and made a commitment to have BIPOC leadership. Everyone in leadership is a member of the BIPOC community. They're people of color, and that really is the case. They have completely stepped back and given everything over to a very diverse leadership team who are moving forward on many, many different issues that are completely funded by Schott. And now Schott is also collaborating with other philanthropists who I think need to do that, to follow the Schott example. They do tremendous work. They're centered in Chicago. They work to support students going to Ivy League schools, going on to higher education, and really making sure that there is support systems in place for the children particularly in the Midwest, in their location. But the way they do it, the way you should do it. I'll just say that. I've never seen anybody do a better job than the Schott Foundation. So I'm going to tag you, Schott Foundation, and just know that people are watching, and thank you. Thank you for the work you've done, and thank you for showing that there's a way to do it with incredible integrity, which is what they've done.
Awesome. Awesome.
That is my shout out for the day. We will be back next week with episode 302 or 202, 202 next week on Between Two Teachers. Bye-bye.
Bye.